All right, how about if we get started? This is Jim Morentz of the XchangeCore team and the Saber community, welcoming both of these communities together for this session today, where we're going to take a look at how Saber is focusing on hurricanes, hurricane information and sharing. And we're doing this as part of an initiative that's a tribute to David Griffith. David Griffith was the manager of the National Hurricane Program for FEMA and a longtime friend and colleague of mine and many other people. And as we move through today, what we want to do is take a look at some of the things. First of all, a little bit about Dave and about the Saber initiative and the Hurricane initiative. Craig Fugate, the FEMA administrator, who is a longtime friend of Dave's, was apparently flying right now. So Rob Glenn, who's the brand new director of the private sector division of FEMA, is going to talk to us for a couple of minutes to sort of introduce this topic, and then we'll take a look at what the initiative actually means, and then take a look at how it works, a demonstration of the private sector, submission of information, and then how governments can see that on a variety of different applications, and then open it up. I invited all the members of the National Hurricane Conference Program Committee, and if any of them are on and would like to express any additional thoughts about Dave or about the whole program itself. So with that, Rob, are you on the call? There we go. We're picking up a few more people. Rob, Glenn, are you around?
Yes, I just dialed in.
Okay, excellent. And we just got to you. So I introduced the program, and if you had a few words to say about Dave, and I actually have a slide that I'll flip up here while you talk, but I'll introduce you in a second. That's over to you.
Jim, thanks again for allowing us to be part of this webinar. We met a few weeks ago at FEMA headquarters talking about Dave Griffith's legacy to the agency and then also to the nation. And so certainly, Mr. Fugate, we're unable to be part of this webinar today, but wanted me to just extend, not only the fond memories of Dave, but also the contribution he brought to response planning, hurricane preparedness, and go all the way back to his time at Tampa. So certainly want to acknowledge that. In this effort that Jim, that you're leading along with Ed Griffith and his work, is certainly something that we acknowledge and want to be part of. So, during our conversations, during operations, we use a variety of technologies. Saber is one of them. It's very helpful in ensuring that information is able to be shared appropriately with the private sector, business and industry, and government. And so, very, very helpful technology. Very thankful for the opportunity to be part of the conversation. With that, Jim, thanks again for allowing us to be part of that.
Absolutely, Rob, and I appreciate it. And Saber's here to serve, and anything that we can do to support the private sector division and the National Business Emergency Operations Center, we're here for you. So thank you very much for that. So let's take a look now at the hurricane initiative itself. It is exactly what Saber has tried to do since its inception as a private sector initiative about a year and a half ago, and that is to do a better job of linking together those private sector information and the operation centers that they have, whether it's a big group with an operation center like you see there, or just a small a handful of companies to be able to provide that information in a number of different ways to government operations centers, and thereby filling the gap. The hurricane tracks that you see there suggest that indeed hurricanes should be a focus. They cover a large portion of the United States population and a substantial number of the states. If you actually push that, those are just Atlantic hurricanes. If you push that into Gulf hurricanes, we'll later on see all the states that are affected by either hurricane landfalls or the impact of hurricanes inland. And that was Dave Griffith's business for all those years. I knew Dave when he was in Tampa Bay, and he then came to FEMA for a short stint, and I hired him away to join a fledgling company at that point called EIS International that had just created some software that really was the origin of the emergency management software business. And Dave became vice president for natural hazards and led the initiative to push that software and all of our training and other programs into communities all across the country. So this really is a continuation of what Dave was doing, to try and get a better link between business disruption information and governments, while allowing them to use that information in whatever software is best for them. And that's what we're going to be taking a look at today, is how all that happens. First of all, broad picture here. Out of those private sector groups, there are two different kinds of flows of information. The little cloud represents a fully automated connection, and that's when it's available from the company. We're dealing with a dozen or so companies now at various levels, and 11 of the 12 do a non-automated transfer. They're doing the left-hand side of that quick win spreadsheet. But if an automated source of information is available, we can bring that in Saber using the XchangeCore tool. That's why we brought together the XchangeCore community and the Saber community. So if we follow this flow out of that spreadsheet, and the whole key is that that spreadsheet shouldn't have to change. It should be whatever the company is using today, submitting up to their management or keeping track of it themselves. And we use the technology to extract the information from that spreadsheet rather than forcing people to change what they do. That spreadsheet then is submitted and uploaded to saberspace.org. And by doing that, it is a very quick, simple process, and we'll see it happen here. That then transforms that spreadsheet in whatever odd format it might have looked at into a NEEM compliant, NEEM being the National Information Exchange Model, NEEM compliant set of standardized data in XchangeCore. And at that point, boom, it becomes available. It becomes available to authorized organizations, those that have joined Saber and become a member. It can get pushed out in a one-way fashion to maps like you see up in the upper left-hand corner. It can go two ways to like you see in the middle there, to incident management applications, WebUC, and others. At the bottom there, it's a two-way exchange between mobile apps that are out there, and we'll take a look at one of those up on the screen. So it's really very simple. Spreadsheet, upload it. After that, the private sector company is finished with their obligations, and governments can then gather the information as they wish and use it in whatever applications they want to. So the advantage then, and the real value to the private sector, is that it's one entry and many, many viewers. And here you see just some of the different ones: the Virtual Business Emergency Operations Center software, ArcGIS Online, Google Earth, Spot on Response, WebUC, and it can go into your website. So if you have a state or city website that you want to show the private sector information, everything that we're dealing with right now is information that can be made available to the public. That is your choice. There's a separate channel for private information. That is, the technology is there, but the organizing committee of Saber has not yet decided that that's a thing that we need to do right now, because it's another level of effort. We want to grow the group in providing this publicly available information. So it's your own format from the private sector into government. And by doing so, we're going to save time, eliminate government requests for that status, of which there can be many, many, many of those requests. That's the value to the private sector. How's it used? This is what we just described briefly. You've got that information. You can put anything that you want to, as a private sector entity, anything that you want to share out. So status information, information about the facility, you decide. The only requirements are two. One, there's going to be a column that says open, closed, or whatever other status you want to have. That's all that's necessary on the one hand. The other side is you need to have a latitude and longitude. You need to tell us where that goes. It's a decimal degree latitude and longitude, and the Saber group can help you do that if you haven't already done that for all of your facilities. At that point, it's a convenient upload. You go to the Saberspace site, the private sector group does, clicks on the member login. Their name is going to be there. That's a secure login because we only authorize people who can put information into this. And then finally, you end up selecting that data file, and poof, that's the last thing that a company needs to do. Now, I said if you have an automated output of your status, that's great. We can talk, and we can definitely bring that into Saber. But most organizations are going to be using that simple spreadsheet, and that's the process that we look at as a very quick win to get more companies on quickly. Governments then are going to view that. They're going to view the status information in their own application. And that application can be anything from a number of different mapping, and we'll take a look at ArcGIS Online and Google Earth here today, as well as just simple text formats. And we'll take a look at how you can print that out, get a little bit of statistics associated with it. So the end user, the consumer of that private sector information, decides whether they're going to do it on maps or lists, put it into an incident management software, and also how they visualize it. You see over there on the left-hand side, and we'll see that, you've got different colored icons, meaning open and close. That all happens on the outside. Saber provides the data. The visualization tools are the ones that do it. So Saber isn't trying to impose red, yellow, and green as icons for open, closed. If you have black for closed ones and exclamation marks for open ones, hey, that's your business. Your group that wants to visualize that needs to make those determinations. We're going to provide you the information. The solution that we have here at Saber, and why we were able to implement it, and why it's not some company out there trying to sell you something, this is freely available because Saber's built on XchangeCore Web Service Data Orchestration. That's a set of tools that was developed by the Department of Homeland Security. Whoop, says DHS there twice. It was Department of Defense for a year and a half provided funding to improve it. And the private sector that has contributed many different elements to XchangeCore. And it's now operated by a nonprofit. A nonprofit serves the XchangeCore community, and as a result of that, it is now a fully operational, currently deployed to bridge that gap that exists between all forms of incident management, but in particular, as we focus on here in the Hurricane Initiative, the public and private sector gap that exists. For those of you who have a more technical bent, technical architecture looks a little bit like this. There are a number of different ways to get the information into XchangeCore. First one is that we talked about, and you'll see a spreadsheet, a CSV file that gets posted up through Saberspace. In the middle on the left is the live system data, and that's a web service that would bring that information in. And as I mentioned, we have one group that's doing that right now. And then bringing in a number of standard formats, geospatial standards, using a web service utility that brings that information in. So lots of choices on the left-hand side, which is the private sector side. The right-hand side, GRSS feeds, KML feeds, web service adapters, all those are available depending on the type of application you want to bring it into. And I make a note there, again, that optional username and password. Right now, the decision has been made to leave this exposed so that people who have registered on Saber are able to go in and gather the information up. Because all the companies on the left-hand side have agreed that, in fact, what they have are the information that if they'd like to know where it goes, but in fact, if it ends up being shared out to the public by any of those receiver organizations on the right-hand side, then that's going to be perfectly acceptable. But the potential for secure connections between the left and the right exists and is available. And at some point, the organizing group for Saber may be making that decision. Some other things just to illustrate this. We've got Walgreens Target data here shown on a number of different applications in WebUC and Flex Viewers and others. Here was the March snowstorms of 2014 showing, and this was Walgreens data in a number of different places that was made available through Saber. So fully operational in the snowstorms there. Also operational in Hurricane Arthur. So our first look at hurricane response that took place last year. And Saber again here in a number of different formats in Google Earth and ArcGIS Online, WebUC, Spot On Response. And then just a few weeks ago, Capstone 15 multi-exercise out in California. A number of different applications, Spot On Response and ArcGIS Online, listing formats that you see there on the right, Google Earth in the center. Plus, what was really important this time around was the integration of Saber data with other events that were happening. Up in the upper right-hand corner, that's a ArcGIS Online with the U.S. Geological Survey shaking intensity models, overlaying that, store outages and store status, and each one of them then representing by the points with the polygon overlays of the model shaking intensity. Very good tool then for, in that two-way flow that we discussed earlier, very good tool to get that polygon overlay, that picture there of the shaking. And before you get information from all of your stores, you may have an indication about what level of damage might be there. We've got that with slosh models, the hurricane models, earthquake models, tornado track forecasts. You've got lots of ability to bring in information through Saber from sources that can give you a hint about what might be happening before private sector groups hear what's happening. And on the other side, governments can look and say, you know what, be really surprised if that Walmart's going to be open tomorrow. We probably need to think about how we're going to be supplying that area that used to get all their food, water, and whatever else from Walgreens. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, a chemical plume also laying there depicting how it could potentially impact with the facilities that are available and shown on Saber. And then, just to let you know, this is happening all the time. Tomorrow, this Friday, Illinois Tornado Exercise, the Virtual Business Emergency Operations Center that's been developed by Argonne National Labs, consumes Saber disruption data. And tomorrow, Sears, Target, Walmart, Walgreens are all going to be participating in the exercise, and all their data is going to be coming through Saber. So that's something you'll see at the end. I'll invite any of you on the government side that if you have an upcoming exercise, we can spin up a little Saber sim cell and provide information for you. So, having said all that, let me pause for a second, see whether anybody has any immediate questions now, and then we're going to take a look at Saber and live operations. Anybody with questions?
How long did it take? This is Mike Simcock from DHS. How long did it take to put together your data exchange standards?
The XchangeCore side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a project that DHS has done over several years with some initial architecture, design, and it is now all available to anybody who wants to use that technology now. From the Saber side, in order to connect into that, the Saber group has built a connector into the XchangeCore technology. And when those spreadsheets are provided to us, it's a very brief period of time. And we're talking an hour to put together the template that allows someone to upload the information into that standard format.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else with questions? All right. Then let's close this one down and take a little bit of a look at Saber. First of all, the two parts. One, this is how I provide the information to the Saber. Again, if I'm not in an automated connection, very simple. You got the little, this is saberspace.org, and got a list of all the public sector and private sector providers there. Got just within the last couple of days, the Missouri Business Emergency Operations Center joined and became enrolled as a member. And what you do is you've got information. And this is the information that Macy's provides. Macy's has decided that this is the essential components. Here's names and addresses and open and closed. We'll take anything. Here, Sears provides some of their name, address. They also have the type of store, since Sears Holdings is representing not only Sears, but Kmart's and auto centers and all. They're going to provide some information about the damage type, a comments field. They've got what was happening in the prior period and what's happening this current period. So it is entirely up to the company what information they provide. We even have one company that says, I'm going to give you my name and whether I'm open or closed, and that's it. That's completely fine, because the whole purpose of Saber is to build the community. And the community will eventually trust each other a little bit more. And right now it's completely understandable that given the process, some people may want to provide more, some people will want to provide less. And that's how those standards will evolve. Because from the private sector side, there's a natural privacy, and Saber is breaking that down a little bit by saying, give us whatever it is that you want to share. Basic theme behind what we do. So you got Macy's here, and we'll come back and take a look at that in a minute. Lots of different ways to look at the Saber information. One of the Saber partners has provided for Saber the use of this status map, and this is a company called Spot On Response status map, and here you see a few things that we have that are looking, and this is one way to look at it. Go on the website, you can see this. The whole rest of our focus is going to be how do you get it into the application that you are using, because Saber is data. Don't get confused. This isn't Saber. This is a company called Spot On Response that's a good friend of Saber. All the lists. Here's all my Sears that have been out, and this is the Sears are from the California earthquake. If I zoom in there a little bit, I'm going to see, and again, I mentioned the different icons and how you visualize this. On this application, my closed are outlined in red, and here I see my Sears closed. Same information that we just saw before. Closing, they've got an unknown. They're still attempting to make contact with this Sears. The last time, they don't know what it was, but it is currently closed. I've got yellows over here that in fact say this is Sears that was impacted. Now, this is where this evolving set of standards become important, because it was literally during this exercise in a conversation with a couple of the companies that said, you know what? Closed and open doesn't really help me, because I can be open but operating under some impacted level. For example, I can be on generators, still be open, but I need you to know that I have a problem here that I need to perhaps be addressed by government. I'm going to have some issues. Another said, you know what, I can actually not even have electricity, and I can use the old-fashioned little credit card forms that you used to rub back and forth and end up getting the imprint of the credit card. I can still make sales for those. So I can sell out my inventory of water and food and not even have electricity to provide that information to support the community. So they, in fact, came up with this term of impacted. Impacted means I'm still here, but I got some issues, and I may not be here for very long. There's more detail going to be provided in here. Here, in fact, they say within 72 hours, they expect to be back to full operation. But between now and then, this is going to be a reduced form of operation. That's now, among 3 different companies, a standard that has evolved out of the private sector, and we'll see how it evolves. It's something that we haven't talked about in an organizing committee recently, but one that we're going to be pushing out to the other companies to say, hey, you know, it's possible you might want to be able to indicate something less than a total outage. So that's what's right here, right now. You got that stuff in Illinois over there, and where are we? Yeah, a little bit of Walgreens over there in Illinois. If I click on one of those, you see they provide a lot of different information. They're going to even give me whether it's a retail clinic or whether it's open, and they'll actually give me their identification number for their drug prescription provider, so if somebody needs that. Entirely up to them what they provide. But now let's take a look at it from the private sector side, because what I want to do is come back here, and I'm going to pretend that I'm Macy's right now. I'm a member. I'm going to click on member or login. So I got my spreadsheet there, and I'm Macy's. So I'm going to come in here and find my Macy's, click on it. There's going to be a username and password that they will have to type in. I'll use mine, but Macy's has their own unique username and password. And it then comes up and it's going to say, all right, let's browse for that file that you just put in there. I put it down on my desktop. There's my Macy's. I'm going to select it. It tells me what I'm doing, and I'm going to upload that. Start uploading, and you watch the little spinner up there, and it's going to take a minute or so for that to upload. And we'll come back to that because I'm going to, well, it already did it. Uploaded 11 locations in there for Macy's. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this down, and we're going to take a look at a different way of looking at that. What we have over here is Google Earth, and you saw earlier the Walgreens that you saw there, and over here you see a bunch of these Sears that we had. Again, just hit any one of these, you've got the same data. We're now looking at it on Google Earth, and if in fact I refresh that and we come and look, I think Macy's was left over from some of the, yep, there we go. Macy's was part of the winter storms last year, I believe, and here's that Macy's data that we just entered. There's Macy's closed. It's Montgomery Home, and it's out on Democracy Boulevard. Used to live out there. So you've just seen the flow of information that went from the Saber, from the spreadsheet through Saber, now showing up out there on Google Earth. And if I come back here, it's going to go back into this Saber map, and it's probably going to show up there too about now. Yep, there we go. There's some Macy's, and again, different representation. Here we've got a cute little Macy's icon over here on Google Earth. It's just a little bit naked, as it were. So let's close that one down, and let's keep looking at these different applications here and how we get there. I've got over here a WebEOC, and what I'm going to do is click into this one and show you WebEOC, and I am going to pretend that I'm the EOC director, and up here I'm going to be looking for my, where'd it go, Saber business disruption status. Click on that one. I'm Jim, yes. So those of you who are familiar with a WebEOC, you're going out there. I've got all of these different tools and Saber incidents. And I should note that what you're seeing right now is you can get from Saber. These tools, this board, the ability to connect that we can provide. Here you see brand new. We've got Macy's that have been added right in there, and these are all the open ones. You see these Macy's, we were testing this earlier. They were on there but removed, and therefore they've now become closed inside of WebEOC. And we got 7 pages of this. If we come down here and take a look at another one, I've got some Walgreens that we saw out there, got some Sears that are there. They note that they are closed in here as an event type or impacted. The status says that WebEOC indication that it is an open status inside of WebEOC. So my incident is open because this Walgreens is closed. So I've got WebEOC information, same stuff that you saw a fraction of a second ago, sitting over there in that spreadsheet, now available. Let's come out and take a look at a different look. You got the one item over there in, where do we want to go? How about if we just took a look at a Google Earth as a GIS. Here we've got the Saber disruptions, and they are part of now a ArcGIS Online. All coming in there. Let's come out and look at some of those Sears guys that we did. You hit one of those, you're getting the same information that we saw earlier. Here's the Palm Desert Auto Center is out there. So again, common data, very, very different formats to be able to see it. One of those formats being plain old text. Not everybody wants to see a map. Here we picked up the RSS feed that came out of Saber. Here's my description of Walgreens, but what's really nice over here is I've got a quick little summary. I've got 48 Sears that are closed, 50 Sears impacted, 33 are open, 6 Walgreens are closed. All of that information, and actually let's update that. Just going to refresh that because we should be able to have Macy's as well. There we've got some Macy's categories have been added in there, along with others that are associated. So all the information that we've got that we're floating through is available in many, many different kinds of formats. So we've been through a number of these. WebEOC, a plain old format, a free copy of Google Earth that allows you to bring that information in there. You've got the spot on response. Where do we go there? Got spot on response in its, there we go. Spot on response found in the status map. And then also, we've got a couple companies that are looking at this right now that don't have an automated format, don't want to end up with a big, heavy tool, but rather want to be able to do something that's a little bit lighter, let's call it. And one of the things that we've got is the ability to, in this tool, to go in and select a item like that Walgreens and go in and look at all the details of that Walgreens, and you got it there. And you see this, I've been located over there, so I've driven out. But this is one of the tools that has gone out and said, all right, we can work with the industry and XchangeCore and provide a status. So I'm now going to say that this Walgreens is closed. So I'm not having to submit a spreadsheet. I'm able to go in and use this little tool. Here you see that it's now closed that Walgreens. If I go back to the list of all those, and I think the Walgreens are probably going to be way down at the bottom. There we go. There's that closed Walgreens. So there are some tools that are starting to be developed that allow you to interact with your data as a store, interact with that data, and then push that data out to Saber automatically. So you're not having to prepare the spreadsheets. So an evolving set of technologies from those that have already become equipped, as it were, to be able to bring the information together. And let's go back to this slide to reinforce this. There we go. That one. some that have already pushed the data out and automatically entered it, others that are using spreadsheets to transform the information and make it available. And now with that Spot on Response mobile app, the ability to deploy that throughout all the stores and do the status modification on the fly from a mobile phone someplace, inform not only back to your emergency operations center in the private sector, but also push it out to XchangeCore and share that information with the public. So we're starting to see some really exciting things evolve. Let me leave you with a call to action. Whether you're government or private sector, whether you're going to provide information or consume information, let's enroll in Saber now, particularly along the hurricane regions, but anywhere in the country. As we saw, Missouri just in looking at this just signed up. Enroll. Step number 1. Number 2, give your technical staff the guide to using Saber data. It's in the members login section on saberspace.org. Little guide. It will show them how to bring that information in from something like a Google Earth, which you can accomplish. I would say I could do it in 90 seconds to bring that information into Google Earth from Saber. So this is not a difficult process. If they want to bring it into a WebEOC, then we've got the tools that they can use to integrate in with your WebEOC and all the other products in between. The guide is there to help you understand how to do that. Third part of the call to action, share this. Saber is a community. There's no national advertising campaign out there. If you're sitting there in Mississippi, send this up to your emergency management agency or share it with your business emergency operations center. On the Saber website, the home page down towards the bottom, there's something called Saber in 3 Easy Lessons. One page, it says, this is what you do, this is why you do it, this is what you do, and this is how you benefit from it. Those 3 things, that's part of the call to action. And then finally, get involved. Let us participate in your next exercise. We can orchestrate either our simulation cell to use some of the information provided by other members in Saber, or in the case of Illinois, we now have 4 members who are actually participating in that exercise. So it's a great way to get involved, test out Saber, see how it works, and be able to benefit your exercise designers as well by having private sector information. And participate in the David Griffith Hurricane Information Initiative. You will benefit from it. Thank you, everybody.